Today in this video I'm going to discuss plants that I wouldn't grow personally. Now this is not to say there isn't anything wrong with the plants, it's just they are not to my liking. Hello, I'm Rosie Hardy, this is Rosie Hardy Gardening. If you enjoy our videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Now let's start this element here with plants. Now I have no problem with these plants per se, and if they're grown well and they look good, then by all means grow them, but they're not to my taste. And that is good because we need to have plants that other people will grow so that gardens are different. It's the same with clothing. You may not want to wear something, but it looks good on someone else. So this is my own personal pet hate. It's not a pet hate, they are plants that I would not put in my garden or my house. Let's start off with Corylus Avelina contorta. Now this is the contorted hazel. The normal hazel, the European hazel, other hazels I have absolutely no problem with, and I actually love them and I have lots of them in my own garden. However, the contorted hazel, either in the new dwarf form or the purple leafed form or the traditional normal green leafed contorted hazel with these twigs which are spirals and it looks as though it's all gnarled and can't get out. It almost looks as though it has got arthritis. I think that's the best way of describing it. And I just feel its pain that it can't get out and be straight and lovely and willowy. So that is why I don't like it. It is grown a lot as a container plant. I've seen really big specimens grown in the ground. I don't have a problem if you have it in your garden, but I'm sorry, it is not going to find a place in my garden in a container that I grow. There are other things that I would rather grow than that. As I say, the normal forms I love, but this form, I'm sorry, it just does not tick the mark for me when it comes to a garden plant. Next, cordylines. Oh dear. I love strappy plants. They are brilliant. They are contrasting plants against other plants in the garden. But I'm sorry, the cordyline is just upright, spiky, and in an English garden setting, I just find it just so alien. I cannot find it in myself to put it into places. Container grown and you put it amongst stuff. No, I'm sorry. If you like jungle gardens and that type of thing, then maybe you can put it in there. But to me, a cordyline, I just don't like them. And you're getting all of these new brash colours. So there are limes and there are bright pinks in the foliage. And again, I don't have a problem with that being in the breeding and people using it. But for me, it just is not a plant that I would like to put in. People used to try and make gardens that look like the wild undersea areas and they'd put those in there. Yeah, fair enough, but not in my... I mean, someone would say, oh, you could put it in your gravel garden, you could put it in a container. I'm sorry, cordylines are not for me. They are better off going where they should be, probably in gardens, say, you know, balcony gardens. Yes, I can understand it. They're an easy plant. They're something that's going to grow for you. No problem at all. But for me, I like a soft cottage garden style and that sort of thing. And it just jars with me. So I'm sorry. That is another one I cannot put in. Then this is going to be quite a fun. This is a little bit of an ironic one, really. So Hosta, remember me and great expectations. Other hostas, absolutely no problem with them whatsoever. But it is just something about these names. And we've grown both of these varieties on the nursery. I've grown them in containers. But you have this hosta, remember me. It grows well the first year. Second year you go out there and you look at the label. Remember me? Nothing there. The pot is empty. It's in the ground. It's not there. I think it's labelled correctly. Remember me. I'm not here again. Same with Great Expectations. You get this idea, it's going to be fantastic, it's going to be great, it's really good. I've seen it growing well other places, but I just cannot. So that great expectation of this plant and the name, sorry, it just doesn't work. Other hostas I have no problem whatsoever with, but I just find some of these ones which have names like this, Remember Me or Great Expectations, just don't do it. So there we go. If you enjoy learning about gardening from me, then why not take a look at my propagation workshop? This is an online course, and this is all about herbaceous perennials. So you are going to learn all of the skills that are required to propagate more plants from your garden for free. For more information, please click the link in comments below. Or you can scan the QR code on the screen right now. Abelia Hopleys variegated. This is in my garden. I don't like it, I never have, and I keep on trying to get rid of it, but it keeps on coming back. It gets used occasionally for foliage in cut flowers, but I would not put it into a new garden ever again. Now it grows up, it can get quite large, it can grow up to probably somewhere around about 3 foot, 1 meter in height. It's got pale, creamy white pink flowers. The variegation on it is really strong. It is yellow and green with a little bit of creamy white variegation. It's really outstandingly variegated. But I'm sorry, I don't like it as a plant. You get bushy bits at the bottom, you get these water shoots that come up. It looks untidy. I cut it down to ground level, which is usually my way of trying to get rid of a plant, and hey presto, it goes, no, I'm not going to die, I'm coming back. And I keep on looking at it and I keep on going, I have got to get that plant out of the garden. It really irritates me that it is in there, and it's my own fault. I put it into the garden, but I really don't like it. And I have a feeling this year is the year when I might just have to get the tractor and the back actor and actually get this plant pulled out of the gravel garden. That will be really good for me because it is already a shrub that's got a base on it, probably about 18 inches. Once I pull that out of the ground, I am going to have a hole to put something that I really adore and put into the ground. And the plant that is really bugs me, because every time I look out of the window I go, oh, I haven't got rid of that plant. And I'm sorry, the plant is growing well, it's doing well, but I just don't like it. In someone else's garden, that will be fine. So that is something that I will not grow again. Abelia Hopleys variegated. Then, houseplants. I love houseplants and I adore the green big foliage types. I love orchids. I've struggled to grow them, but I now seem to have mastered it. There are other things. I love ferns. I have variegated plants in my houseplant range, but one I will not grow again. I have as a student grown it, but not now. I don't. I look at it and I go, oh no, I can't bear it. I can't put it in. And that is Codium, the Croton. So these huge big leaves which have got veins all going up, and then there can be splodges of red, splodges of yellow, splodges of dark green, goes upright, and these huge big leaves, and it just does not do anything for me. I've seen beautiful plants of it, really well grown, sitting in hotel lobbies or, you know, that sort of area. But for me, it just, again, it doesn't tick the boxes. I can't place it anywhere. It's probably too psychedelic maybe for me. Maybe that's the problem with it. As I say, as a plant, well grown, somewhere else, not a problem. And this is why, this is my personal list of plants that I will not grow. I will look at them other places and go, yeah, well grown plant, really beautiful plant, but just not for me. Again, another plant which in the UK is grown as a house plant, and this is one of the cactuses. Now, I've tried growing them. I've done everything that you should do. I've given them the xeric compost. I've kept them well dry. I've put them where they want to be, and I don't succeed. And the one that I'm really, although it looks fantastic, is Opuntia. Opuntia, or known as bunny ears. So these lovely round, flat, hundreds and hundreds of spikes all over it. Now this is another reason why I actually sort of steer clear from some of the cacti, because you've got to wear gloves if you're going to be doing anything with them, because those little tiny hairs or those small spines will get into your hands and they are dreadful. And I hate sitting there with a needle and pulling out spelks. It really isn't the best way of doing things. So I'm not good at sitting there with a needle and pulling out spelks. I don't like it. So even with gloves, I found they still get you. It's a little bit like roses. So anything that's got spines like that, I tend to steer clear of. I admire totally all these beautiful cacti displays. I love it when you go to a botanical garden, you go into the glass houses and they have the xeric desert area with these amazing cacti all in there. But I'm sorry, I am not going to grow Opuntia in my house because of what happens. The other thing that happens to them as well, I've found, if you do have something like that with that type of stuff, the dust just collects on them. And if you've got other plants around, the leaves get on there and you're having to clean them off. So it's not going to happen. Yes, have them outside where you can grow them. Admire them in the wild where they grow. Yes, have them in botanic gardens. And if you are able to grow cacti, well done, because it's something that I am not able to grow. But that could be because we've got such a moist climate. So I'm sorry, bunny ears, Opuntia is on my list of plants I'm not going to grow. Let's go back outside now and go to something which has always given me trouble, and that is the Kilmanic willow. There was a phase here in the UK where every front garden had a Kilmanic willow. So if you don't know what a Kilmanic willow is, it is a willow that has been grafted to the top. So you will get this long stem. They will stand anywhere between 1 metre and 1 metre 50. So that's 3 foot and 4 foot, maybe 5 foot. And they are weeping and they come down. They look like Cousin It. They come down, they'll have the lovely willows. There are better willows than this willow. I am sorry. Once it's had all of its beautiful pussy willow flower heads and that's gone over, it's a boring green blob in my opinion. I'm sorry, I just do not like it. Salix capria pendula. That is its Latin name, Kilmanic willow. There are other willows as well that have been made into this lollipop type grafted ones, and again, I'm not a fan. But the Kilmanic willow, you know, you're thinking willows can be so graceful and beautiful, and there are other forms that I would much rather grow. This one, I'm sorry, it doesn't have a place in my garden or in containers. Then, people who know me, I do not like lilies. Now, I have to put a caveat on that because actually I do rather like the woodland lilies. So there are things that I will appear, but the lilies that are bred for using for cut flower, putting in the house, that overpowering perfume and that pollen that once you get it onto clothing or onto your hands, completely you cannot get it off because it stains like anything. And the worst one is Lilium Stargazer. I'm sorry, I just do not like that plant. So that one is a no for me. I won't have lilies in the house because it makes me sneeze. I cannot cope with it. I've got friends who do lily displays and they look fantastic. They really do. The one that stands out that I just don't like is Stargazer, and I don't know, it's just the way that it's got these raised bits which are orange on the petal. It's sort of bright and overpowering in your face. The perfume is so strong. I just would not give that one house room. I would grow martagon lilies out in the garden, absolutely no problem at all. But I would not grow lilies in containers to have in the garden. I'm sorry, that's just me. Then the last one on my list of plants that I would not grow are gooseberries or goosegogs, whatever you want to call them. And I must have this aversion from my late father. He hated gooseberries. He really detested them. And I have to say, I have exactly the same feeling as him. I can smell a gooseberry in a dessert. Someone said, oh, try gooseberry fool, you won't be able to taste it. Oh no, not for me. I am sorry, I can't do it. They are ribes. They are Ribes uva crispa. That is the botanical name for the gooseberry shrub. Now, they are full of prickles again. I think I have this aversion to things which have really spiny, because when you're going to prune them or do anything, they attack you. I just don't like gooseberries. I'm sorry. I was given a dessert once. I nearly threw the whole thing across the table. I had to just give it I nearly did, and I didn't. I thought, no, you're out. You can't do that. I slid it across and I said to my husband, can't share this. You're having all of it. And I don't know what it is. And you put them in the fruit garden or you can grow them out. I mean, yes, they're quite a good deterrent for other things. You know, they've got really good, if you have a gooseberry hedge, fine, it'll stop things coming through it. But I'm not going to be pruning that gooseberry hedge for you. I'm terribly sorry. My late sister-in-law had one of the oldest, best gooseberry cordons that you could ever see. These gooseberries were all up diagonally, up a wall, fantastic, really old, gnarled, looking really great. But I'm sorry, the fruit they produce, it's just so, I'm sorry, even when the wild ones, as children, everyone would go along and pick the goosegogs out of the wild gooseberries in the hedgerows up in Northumberland. And they go, oh yeah, they're really nice. And I'm going, no, they're horrible. I don't want them. So I'm sorry. The gooseberry is another one that I have confined to not being grown by Rosy Hardy. So this is a personal list of things that I would not grow. Do not get offended if some of these are your favourites. As I have said, it's me that doesn't like them. And I hope it just shows you the various things and the reasons why. There are other parts of plants within, ribes, for instance. There are other ribes that I would grow. There are other hazels I would grow. There are other hostas I would grow. Cordyline, I'm afraid, no. Croton, no. There are other Abelias that I would grow, but not the specific one that I have said. Salix, yeah, there are other salix I would grow, but not the Kilmanic willow. Lilies, as I've said, I will grow martagon lilies, absolutely no problem at all, but not that specific one. So this is a very personal, I would not grow these plants in my garden or my house. If you enjoy this video, then please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.